Welcome back, and our next guest is going to be telling us all about cataracts, cataract treatment, things that I want to know about, and I'm sure you do too. From NVision Eye Centers, we welcome Dr. Rauf.
Thank you, Bree. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. We've got such important talking points that we need to share with our viewers, and I'm super curious about all of them as well, and especially the topic of cataracts.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them. I've known one person who had cataract surgery, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I didn't, like, you hear it, and you hear it a lot for canines.
Yeah.
That's where I originally started hearing about it.
Right.
And then I understood, well, actually people have it
Humans
too.
can get it too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So take me to the basics.
Great.
What causes this condition?
I'll take a step back even further and tell you that this is the most common surgery that I do, and it is my favorite surgery to do.
Oh my goodness.
I actually decided to go into ophthalmology my very first month of medical school. And during the first year of medical school, you're supposed to just kind of explore all the different specialties and see what you like. I shadowed an ophthalmologist that very first month, and he was doing cataract surgery all day. And I just fell in love with the surgery. It's a quick, elegant, very delicate surgery that achieves such a high impact in our patients' lives. And after that one day, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do for life. And I went through medical school learning, I loved OBGYN, I loved interventional cardiology, I loved thoracic surgery. But then at the end of medical school, I came full circle back to cataract surgery and ophthalmology, and I knew this is what I want to do every day.
Wow, that's amazing. Good for you.
Thank you. So what is a cataract? A cataract is cloudiness of the natural lens that's in our eye. So every eyeball has a lens inside it, and there are two qualities about that lens that make it special that we've been created with. The first quality is that the lens is clear, and as we age, and usually this starts in our 50s and our 60s, that this lens loses its clarity and it becomes cloudy. And when the lens becomes cloudy, we call it a cataract. Sometimes there is a misconception that I hear from patients. They think that the cataract is something that grew inside the eye.
That's what I thought it was.
And that when we remove it, we're just taking that extra thing that grew.
Right.
That's not true.
That's not
true. A cataract means that your own lens, which was clear, has now become cloudy. And when we do cataract surgery, we remove that whole cloudy lens and we replace it with a clear artificial lens implant.
Okay, this is interesting because the person that I knew that had this procedure done, it was almost as if there was a mirror in his pupil.
That's the artificial lens that you're seeing.
There was a reflection. Do you have bionic eyes now or what?
It kind of looks like that because the way that the artificial lens reflects lighting is different from the way our natural lens, which is made up of protein and collagen, is different. So most people can't notice that. When I stand in the elevator with a bunch of people and I look around, I can tell who's had cataract surgery and who hasn't, but that's just because that's my specialty. That's what I do, but most people can't notice. But let me take you back to the other quality about our natural lenses that makes it special. So first we talked about the clarity, and loss of the clarity is cloudiness. That's called a cataract. The other quality about our natural lens that makes it special is that it's gummy and it flexes. So when we're young, the reason why we're able to see far, intermediate, and close-up, see the computer, see the phone, see the traffic light, without thinking about it, without glasses, is because our natural lens has the ability to flex. It has that flexibility to it that allows us both far and close-up vision. It autofocuses. Starting our early 40s, we start losing that flexibility. The lens becomes harder, more rigid. It no longer has that gummy, flexible nature. And that is why we start losing our close-up vision over time. That's why in our 40s and our 50s, we start grabbing reading glasses. By our 60s, we are totally dependent on those reading glasses. We need to see the close-up. So when I do cataract surgery and I remove the cloudy lens and I replace another artificial lens, that artificial lens that is placed, we have a lot of different options of what kind of artificial lens is a good option. And when a patient comes in to see me for a consultation, we do lots of measurements of the eyeball geometry and the overall eye health to determine what lens implants that patient is a candidate for. And some of them allow patients to see both far and close up without reading glasses again. So it's able to restore that full range of vision that they used to have when they were younger.
So that was one of my questions, is how do people know whether it's a cataract or whether their vision is just, with time and with age,
Yeah, so
it's just decreasing.
A simple eye exam can demonstrate that. Usually, if patients are able to correct their vision with glasses or contact lenses to great vision, like 20/20, most likely their cataracts are not at the point yet where they need cataract surgery. It's typically when the vision is cloudy or blurry despite wearing glasses, despite wearing contact lenses, that's when you know that your cataract is visually significant.
Sure.
Other symptoms that people have are glare at night or starburst, and that's a very common symptom I hear from my patients. They feel like their vision during the day is fine, but they get in their car trying to drive somewhere at night and they're almost blinded by all the lights, lots of glare, lots of starbursts, and that is from the cataract as well. And if it's at the point where they feel like it affects their ability to drive, it makes them feel unsafe, then that's also an indication that it is time to have cataract surgery, or at least consider it.
Does the body reject the cataract at any point?
So the cataract is the normal part of the natural anatomy of the eye. But when we do the surgery and we take out that cloudy lens and replace it with an artificial lens, the body does not reject it. These lens implants have been used in humans for over 100 years now, and they made up of a biocompatible material that is inert. So it does not interact with the natural tissue that's inside the eye, and the body does not reject it.
And so so sorry for, not being so naive about
those are
all
great
of this.
questions.
I mean, I just find this fascinating. So the implant, does it go underneath what we see as the top of the eye?
Yeah. So
because otherwise I would. I'm trying to envision this, and it's not like a contact lens where it's over the top, right?
Correct.
It's actually
it goes inside. So
it doesn't move around.
Correct. So behind the colored part of our eye, which is the iris, behind it there is a structure called the capsule, which is basically like a bag that's naturally in our eye that holds the natural lens in place. And when we do cataract surgery, we remove the natural lens from within that bag and we put the new artificial lens inside that bag. So the artificial lens is secured in place behind the colored part of the eye.
Fascinating. kind of like gives me the creepy. And that doesn't bother you, obviously, right?
Oh no, I love this.
Oh my goodness.
But in general, anything that has to do with eyes and anything that has to do with vision, it can make some patients kind of shocked or feel anxious. And I tell my patients that that's completely normal. Even a lot of doctors that are not eye surgeons may feel kind of squeamish when it comes to eyes. But this is what we do.
About it. It feels like such a vulnerable part of our anatomy.
Right, and I feel that vision is our most important sense. Blindness or loss of vision is very debilitating, and no one wants to have reduced or limited vision. And that's why we love what we do, and that's why we're so fortunate that we have the surgery that can restore patients' vision.
Absolutely. So do you use a use of laser for the cataract surgery?
Yeah. So the laser is called the femtosecond laser. It's very similar to the laser that we use in LASIK, but it's doing something completely different, and it's not actually LASIK. What the laser does is it creates the incisions on the eyeball for me to go inside the eye. You know how I told you that the natural lens or the cataract sits inside a capsule?
Yes.
The laser will actually open that capsule for me in a perfect circular opening, and it will also break up the cataract into tiny pieces. So think of the cataract as a piece of M&M candy. It's literally that size and shape. It's very tiny, and it sits behind that colored part of the eye. The laser, is gonna cut that M&M into a bunch of pizza slices.
Oh, interesting.
It's very precise, very gentle on the eye. And then I go in and I remove those little slices of that M&M, and I clean that capsule, I polish it, and then I put the new lens implant in its place. So the laser allows the surgery to happen in a much more precise way, less inflammation, less swelling to the inside of the eye, because there's just less trauma. The laser is doing all these steps that are chopping up the lens. So that typically translates to faster recovery of the vision, so patients are able to see better faster, and a reduced rate of complications. The rate of complications to begin with is already extremely low. It's less than 1 in 1,000 theoretically.
That's peace of mind.
Yeah, so the laser just further augments that.
Right. Wow. Absolutely fascinating. Dr. Raouf from NVision Eye Center, thank you so much for being here with us.
My
Come back
pleasure.
because I want to talk to you about LASIK.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. You're watching This Day on Village TV. We'll be back after these messages.